Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom. If you can hear me, put a one in the chat. If y'all can hear me, put a one in the chat. Shalom, shalom. Can y'all hear me? I don't see no ones in the chat. I'm wondering if they can. Okay, there we go. They can hear us. They can hear us. They can hear us. Shalom, shalom. As you guys obviously notice, we are not on the main channel. That channel is gone. You know, it's not going to stop us, but you know, regularly scheduled program was going to pick up next week. But I just felt it in my spirit and in my soul that I had to go live. Right? I actually haven't seen you guys in about 2 weeks, so you know, I definitely had to do something and go live. As you guys can see the title, you know, Passover. Were you there? You understand? Were you there? God, it was a powerful Passover. We definitely have to reflect on that and relish in that moment because the Most High was in full effect that entire weekend, or that entire week, rather, right? Not to mention, today is what the secular world, right, calls Good Friday. Okay. And we know today wasn't a Good Friday, but God damn it, last week, excuse me, not God damn it, but God bless it. Last week was one great Friday. Okay. And the weeks, I just said the weeks and the days preceding that day and the days succeeding that day was just nothing short of amazing. So, shalom on everybody in the chat. You know, since I already said put a one in the chat if you can hear me, put a two in the chat. If you've been having a pretty good week, put a three in the chat. If you've been having a pretty difficult week. Micah, I know you guys. I know. Listen, I haven't posted any videos, man. I was gone out of town. I went to Atlanta a week before Passover. There was what we call the Gamed Up Conference with our beloved brother, Gorgeous Dre, and his beloved wife D. I was excuse me, Dove rather. Excuse me, Dove and his nephew D. Powerful brothers and sisters. They were in attendance, man, down for this truth, open and learning and growing every day in this truth. The brother Gorgeous Dre, man, is doing a good job with bringing people into this knowledge. So shouts out to our brother for that. I left and went to Atlanta a week before Passover so that I can attend that conference. Again, it was powerful. I had JoJo with me. JoJo learned a lot, so that was always good. You know, just keeping them around powerful individual, you know, powerful men for that matter, and just keeping him familiar familiar with, you know, personal development, personal growth, the power of brotherhood, the power of sisterhood, and just keeping around us, building this nation up. It was really, really important. So that's what I was doing. So that's really why a lot of videos weren't going out. On top of that, being extremely busy, right? I didn't know Passover passed. I'm confused with the holy days. My sister's celebrating Passover next week. Yeah, that's one thing about Israel, man. We have different calendrical systems. There were people that were celebrating Passover this month that I was confused. I thought they was going to be celebrating it next month. So they're celebrating their Passover. Yeah. That's some wild stuff. So it's so many different ways of operating within Israel. People have, like I said, different calendrical systems, but that's them. So you're going to see that, Brother Robert. You're going to see that people are celebrating differently. But I'm going to tell you this, you know, all of the kinks and all of the details are going to be worked out upon the return of our Lord and Savior, who the world called Jesus Christ, who name Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, you know, first and foremost, let's give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Amashak Yahweh Shai. But upon his return, we're going to, you know, work out all the kinks from there. I can appreciate the fact that they're celebrating it, all right, that they're acknowledging the time where the Lord brought us out of Egypt, all right, being the children of Israel. Just real quick, Idar, can you give me Deuteronomy 4:9? I bring this out a lot. I bring this out often because it is something that's very much so important. This is one of the laws that we got away from, that the Most High commanded us to do, right? Teach your children, teach your sons and your sons' sons, especially, right? Not only do you teach them the law, statutes, and commandments, but you especially teach them about the way in which we stood before the Lord and when we received these laws, and when the Lord was chastising, punishing us, leading us to the wilderness. That was us. That was the ancestors of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. And with understanding that, we always will come back and will commemorate and acknowledge the Lord's Passover. Bring that out.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 9.
Damn.
Only take heed to thyself.
Only take heed to yourselves, right? That's something that we have gotten away from. We don't take heed to ourselves. Listen, most of our people are worrying about the day of Ishtar tomorrow. I mean, this weekend, right? Hold on. What's going on with my hat? Our people only want to acknowledge, our people only want to recognize the day of Ishtar, the day of Semiramis, the day of Tammuz, right? That's what our people is fixated on. We envy the way of our oppressors. We choose all of their ways. And most of it is because of our ignorance and because of our disconnect from who we are. So, yeah, we might celebrate these things on different days, but I cannot overlook. I would be remiss to overlook the fact that they are celebrating and commemorating it at all, right? And that's what something that I can appreciate. That's something I'm going to focus on. I've spent way too many years arguing and bickering and burning bridges with brothers and sisters because they don't follow the same day that I do, rather than, you know, giving credit to where credit is due. Like I said, all the kinks will be ironed out upon the return of our Lord and Savior. Matter of fact, I actually have a scripture. Real quick, I heard you, Gabar. Somebody give me Malachi, give me Isaiah 40:4.
Book of Isaiah.
Go ahead.
Chapter 40, verse 4. Every valley shall be exalted.
Every valley is going to be exalted in that day, right? The valley is the low point, right? It's the pit. It's the place in which is covered, right? This is where you get the word veil from, okay? The thing that is hidden. It says it's going to be exalted. This goes into the concept of the parable or the proverb of the last shall be first, okay? And that's going to bring me to a testimony that I have. I'm going to touch on it in a minute, but it goes to the testimony of something that happened this powerful Passover week, in the days leading up to it. So, with that being said, it says the valleys are going to be exalted. Those that are in the low, hidden places are going to be brought and exalted to a high place. Read.
And every mountain and hill shall be made low.
And those that are at the top, those that are on the mountaintop, those that are on the top of the hill, they're going to be brought down low. And again, it goes into the proverb of the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Okay, go ahead.
And the crooked shall be made straight.
It says all the crooked things, all the crooked people, all of the crooked concept and system and ways are going to be made straight. Read.
And the rough places plain.
And all the rough places are going to be made smooth, or they're going to be made plain. So that's what I mean by when it says that, when I say things like the Lord is going to iron out all the kinks, all the wrinkles, all the schisms, right? He's going to figure out all that. And we're going to be made into a powerful nation under one king, and one regime when the Lord returns. Until that day, man, let's just commemorate and let's just give the Most High praise that we are remembering who we are, and that we are in the spirit to acknowledge him, to recognize him, and follow his high holy days rather than the ways of the heathen, right? That was it on that, Malachi. Go ahead, Gabar.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 10.
Hey, let me get one of them. Just one of them.
Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ,
Go ahead.
that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. For it hath been declared unto me of you, my brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe, that are contentions among you. There are contentions among you.
So
that 10th verse.
Right. So we understand that there's going to be contentions. The Lord encourages us to be of one mind and of one one path. Again, the fact of the matter is that later on in the Bible, it speaks about how divisions must come as well, right? And that there are going to be schisms, there are going to be divisions. It's going to happen. The goal is to bridge these gaps and to bring these things together. But until then, again, we're not going to cry over spilled milk. Somebody's celebrating the next week, somebody's celebrating the next month. I can appreciate that they're celebrating. Of course, I disagree. And if anybody ever really wants to go into it, we could, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make that a point of contention. Okay. Go ahead, priest, what you have?
Colossians 2:16 says, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days.
We're not going to judge anybody in respect to those things, right? Some people might do Friday night to Saturday night Sabbath. I'm not going to do that, but I have to give some credit to the fact that they are acknowledging, because I know that, or I would hope. I can't say that I know. I would hope that they believe that they're following it the way in which the Most High required of them. Okay. The reason why I took that back to say I know, because I have heard from some people to say, I recognize that the Sabbath is according to the moon cycle, but it is convenient for me to do it Friday night to Saturday night. And I don't respect that at all. I don't think that is good, but the people who do have my respect is the ones that I can look at and understand and know. I have heard testimony that this is sincerely how they feel. So we're not going to judge them for that matter. Go ahead.
It says, which are a shadow of things to come.
Because they are a shadow of things to come. Okay.
But the body is of Christ.
But the body is of Christ. In that day, these things are going to be laid smooth. They're going to be laid straight. And there are going to be no issues, no schisms, no nothing. Okay. Idar, what I have you holding again? Go ahead, bring that out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently.
Only take heed to yourselves and make your souls diligent. Go ahead.
Lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen.
That's exactly what happened to our people. They have forgotten what their eyes have seen. You know what that is, priest, where it says they see, but they observe, but they perceive not. Something like that. They see, but observe not. You know where it's at, Malachi? You said Jeremiah 29.
No, it's 5 and 3.
They see and see not.
Isaiah 42:20.
What does it say?
Seeing many things, but thou observest not.
Boom. I need that. Start at 19.
Look at Isaiah chapter 42, verse 19. Who is blind but my servant?
Listen, Israel have forgotten the things that their eyes have seen. That's how we became blind. Go ahead.
Or deaf as my messenger that I sent. Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant.
Who is blind like the servant of the Most High, right? The children of Israel, read.
Seeing many things, but thou observest not.
Young Simba, he said, I thought you only wanted one. Yeah, but he turned around, he said, hey, take the bag. I was like, cool, I'll take it. And they fired too. They fired as hell, dog. Now pay attention to the lesson and get off my chips. Okay? With dip, nigga, because you delinquent. All right?
Hey, too much dip on your chip.
Got too much dip on your chip. Chill out. Bring it out.
seeing many things, but thou observest not,
Mm-hmm.
opening the ears, but he heareth not.
Seeing many things, but observing not. The Lord had already instructed us in our law, be diligent, because if you don't, you're going to forget the things that your eyes have seen. You're going to forget the correcting and the chastisement of the Lord. We don't ever want to get to that place, but it became easy for us to fall into that pit, fall into that dungeon, because they took who we are away from us. We stopped practicing our laws. We stopped following our high holy days. They became abomination. They became despised by the Most High, because even at the times when we were following them still, we were perverting that high holy day because we weren't following the rest of the laws of the God, of the Most High, right? We wasn't merciful, right? We despised judgment, okay? And then our high holy days became an abomination or something that the Most High despised. Don't just sit up here and want to celebrate, right? And want to follow me when we get the feast and we get to have a good time and have this party. No, don't just follow me then. Follow me even when it comes down to you forgiving your brother, right? When it comes down to you being merciful, right? Having compassion, right? Establishing just judgment and not perverting it for filthy lucre's sake or for respecter of persons. I want you to follow me all year so that these celebrations can be meaningful. So again, I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, even if someone want to look at it as naive, this is my hope. This is what makes me feel good. You know what I'm saying? This is what puts me to rest and rocks me to sleep at night, that our nation is growing, this movement is growing, the faith of the Most High is growing, and that our people are making a conscious and sincere effort to follow him. So again, if somebody wants to follow it next week, hey, you want some more better understanding, come on over to Sakari, man. We get you together. But if not, enjoy the day of the Most High. Okay, enjoy the day that you feel like is dedicated to the Most High, to your understanding. Okay, and that's what I'm gonna respect in, because coming off of last week, it's gonna be very, very difficult, man. You know, to take that glee and that joy away from me. It's just gonna be difficult. Okay, don't mean Cap getting soft. It don't mean Cap is now, you know, ain't who he is, that I don't want to spill blood no more. I'm still Sakari. All right. I still carry that dagger with me for sure. But I am tired of spilling blood on my brother and my sisters. I don't like it. I'd rather preserve that for the heathens, right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. Seeing many things, but thou observest not. Opening the ears, but he heareth not. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
He will magnify the law and make it honorable. And that's literally what he's doing. Like I said, even if someone disagrees with the time, people stopping what they're doing, going into their pockets, spending their hard-earned money to go and acknowledge and gather together and celebrate the Lord's Day. Hey, that's a glorious thing, and it's an honorable thing. It's something that people are holding in high regard and respecting. And that's all we can do is respect something like that. So at the very least, let's hold the criticism, all right, for more serious doctrinal differences that pertain to salvation versus somebody disagreeing on the time in which a high holy day should be celebrated. Okay, go back to that in Deuteronomy 4.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 9. Only take heed to thyself, right, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen.
Unless we forget the thing that our eyes have seen, because we've been seeing things and observing now. Okay, this is what the Lord is telling us and warning us in the law. That's why we got to get back to that law. Read.
And lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Read.
Especially the day that the Lord stoodeth before the especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth.
Ain't that crazy, man? Like the Lord really, or we rather, really stood before the Lord and received the instructions of the Most High, man. That happened to us. That happened to our people. How many people do you think is going to pile into the churches to, this weekend on Sunday that know their Bible, that read their Bible, that can recite their Bible just as good as we do, but have no idea that it's talking about them? And that's what, and it makes a world of a difference on how you understand the Bible. From reading the Bible, thinking that you're a Gentile, thinking that you're an outsider, that all of these stories really have nothing to do with you, hits way different from when you're like, damn, I'm a Judite, man. See, you see what the tribe of Judah was doing, right? I'm a Levite. First of all, don't forsake a Levite. You got to understand something. You don't do that. Watch yourself. A little bit too much dip on your chip. All right, calm down. When you're at Passover and the Levites go around and anoint the heads of everyone, oh man, it hits different. Rather than your pastor, your bishop, all right, who just did some sick, twisted, hellacious shit in the back. All right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm over here shaking like,
yeah.
Brother, like, camera ain't on you. I said, listen, that's the Holy Spirit right there.
It's the Spirit.
Man,
all right. Because this is
go down the line,
because it's a solemn assembly. This is serious, man. This was a matter of life and death at the moment. You see what I'm saying? Imagine how many Jakes didn't adhere to slaughtering the lamb, striking the doorpost with the blood. Not only does this commemorate our deliverance, but also commemorates, the judgment of the Most High and how he will get on your ass if you don't get your shit together, which is the whole reason why we need to be delivered again. You see what I'm saying? But again, that spirit, that feeling you get, man, when the Levites go through and brothers know that brothers is like all the Levites, all the Levites proceed and come forward for the anointing. But guess what? Chief took it even further this year, and he handpicked Levites this year. It wasn't just any Levite that could come up and do this year, right? He handpicked some. A further testament of just the spirit moving. This is us. This is our shit. This is something that we do to our God. It's different. I read this Bible different. I understand it different. I walk according to this Bible totally different now that I know, like, this is us. And guess what? The Most High knew that. That's why he put it into our law that we need to teach these things to our sons and our sons' sons. He says, don't just teach him about the day that you follow the Passover. Who knows what that is? That's in Exodus 12, right? Where it says, when your son asks you, like, why do we do this, Dad? The Most High put it in there to say, listen, when your son asks you, this is what you tell him. But he says, listen, also remember, also pass down and teach your sons about the day when I stood before you. I just thought about something. No wonder this dude came in here dapping everybody every way that he's got 2 days on, bro. He walked straight up to me and was like, what's up, dog? What we doing? But it hits different for us. And again, the Most High understood that. That's why he put it in our law. But guess what? On the flip side, even we know that the Most High understood how important it was. We understood how the Most High knew that it was going to hit different for us. But guess what? On the flip side, our enemies knew how detrimental it was going to be for us to not remember that anymore. The way in which our enemies cut us off from being a nation was taking the name of Israel away from our remembrance. If I can get them to believe that they're not Israelites and that they're going to go and follow other heathen traditions and that they are actually heathens themselves, it's going to be just as much of a detriment to them as it is a benefit of them knowing. Bring your precept up.
Book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 15. Blow the trumpet in Zion.
Read.
Sanctify a fast.
Call
a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders. Gather the children and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet.
Read.
Let the priest, the minister of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their God?
Let them not say that, right? Let not Israel be mocked by our oppressors and by our enemies, saying, "Oh, where's your God? Where's this guy that you guys bow down to and acknowledge and praise and serve? The one responsible for bringing you out of Egypt. Where is he?" Let's not ever put the heathen in position to have to say or to be able to even say something like that to us. Go ahead.
Last thing it says, then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people.
That
was
what's that last part? Then what?
Then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people.
And that's really what we're looking for. We want the anger of the Lord to turn, and we want him to have pity on us. Because when the Lord starts having pity on us, he starts to dispense his spirit to give us a little push, right? To give us a little assistance, right? Give us a little boost. We need to really get that money. You know, he getting to it. We getting to it. You know what I'm saying? Saying all of that to say, when we have such a successful day of the Lord like that, man, I'm riding that high. Okay, I'm riding that wave as long as I possibly can. You guys are gonna be looking at Cap, shoot, at Tabernacle, like, Cap, you still talking about Passover? I know I can't stop. And now Tabernacle come, and now Feast of First Fruits hit, and all of the other high holy days hit, and they're as a success as Passover was. Hey, we're gonna ride that thing too, all the way until it circles right back around. More than 2 times. I'm definitely gonna be in Atlanta more than 2 times for sure.
Feast of First Fruits lands on that weekend that Chief was talking about doing.
See what I'm saying? It just works. Now, how crazy is that? This year is different, man. As Chief mentioned, he said at the top of the year, right? At the top of the Gregorian year, right? 2024, he says it's gonna be a year of jumping over walls. And I'm gonna tell you this. Somebody give me Ephesians 2. Oh man, give me Ephesians 2, started like 18 or 19. Talking about that middle wall of partition. That's another wall that we finna jump over, right? I remember Chief said this before, man. He says, listen, we are a nationalistic society. Meaning what? We have to love one another according to the law, whether you believe this shit or not. We can't look at somebody and say, oh, they ain't got their seats on. They ain't got fringes on. She's on a stripper pole. He's on the corner selling dope. This nigga's a pimp. This nigga got a red rag hanging out of his right pocket. I ain't gotta treat him lawfully. I ain't gotta tell him about this truth. Nope. Still gotta love him the way that the Most High said love him, with all of your heart and all of your soul. You gotta forgive him. You gotta extend that level of forgiveness, that level of mercy and compassion. If the brother falls into despair, you gotta look out for him. The whole 9. Your treatment to him cannot be affected because of his treatment, because of his poor treatment to the Most High. Don't work that way. We are a nation of people. We are a nationalistic society and group that just simply loves our people, whether they agree with us or not. Go ahead, bring your precept. You have some, Malachi? Go ahead, priest.
Ephesians 2 and 13. It says, but now in Hamashiach Yahushai.
Now in Christ, go ahead.
Ye who sometimes were afar off.
Those who were sometimes afar off, go ahead.
Are made nigh.
Are now brought near by what?
By the blood of a Mashiach.
By the blood of a Mashiach. And I'm going to tell you something, right? I'm going to remember this middle wall, right? Jumping over walls, and we are in Ephesians 2 for the middle wall. But dealing with it. We are now made near through the blood. Tell you guys a quick story, right? Tell you guys a story. For those of you who don't know, this year, we actually slaughtered the Passover lamb, right? Chief did it for us. If you guys don't know who Chief is, it's Alazar Bonloy, aka the Gorilla Hebrew. He slaughtered the lamb. I don't know if you guys have seen any footage, maybe a picture that he posted. It was a beautiful experience. Definitely something that I want to continue. I don't want to go backwards and start buying the lamb anymore. I already pre-slaughtered and none of that. I want to go through that process again. But it was 4 lambs that the priest, that chief priest had slaughtered. They chose and picked out the lambs on Monday, slaughtered them on Thursday, the day before Passover. And the first 3 were decent. The first one was probably the easiest, right? Yet, I'm sure for Chief was the most nerve-wracking, right? But out of all 4, it was the simplest one, right? He slaughtered it. The blood came out, went down pretty easy. Number 2 and number 3, they gave a little bit of trouble. They just seen their homie, you know what I'm saying, get murked real quick. So they ran around. They was like, nah, they bucked, right? One lamb actually even had horns too, right? So it was crazy. But I want to point something out. The farm that we went and got the lamb from, Esau owns this farm. Brothers had never slaughtered an animal before, so we not going up saying, yeah, Esau, going about your business and let's we'll do it ourselves. Nah, I mean he was helpful, right, to say the least. After each time a lamb was slaughtered, Esau will pull it into the room to start the process of skinning it, right? Of course, we left the lamb intact, as the scriptures speak about, but we definitely took the skin off. After each time the lamb was slaughtered, Esau would take the lamb into the room to get it ready to skin it. At the time that the 4th lamb was about to be slaughtered, Chief looks and says, "Oh, damn, this was the first lamb that I slaughtered. I mean, this is the first lamb that I picked." And he quotes the proverb. Oh, he says, yeah, because the first shall be last and last shall be first. Right? Cool. In the first 3, after they were done, Esau was explaining to us, like, yeah, the nerves, it's crazy how the nerves still work, because after they're gone, you'll still see them twitch and move and stuff like that. So Chief gets done slaughtering the 4th lamb. It's laying on the ground. It then passed on. Esau then does what? Go right back as he usually does, but he's letting this one kind of still fully drain. He goes into the room. As soon as he goes into the room, and it's on tape, as soon as he goes into the room, you know what that lamb starts to do? It starts to buck on the ground. Blood everywhere. It starts to buck. And it starts kicking, and it starts going crazy. And guess what? It was 4 Judites. Was it 4 Judites? No, it's 5 Judites and 1 Levite, which was Chief Priest Alazar, right? So, of course, the priest, he's killing the lamb. He's got the blood all over him. The lamb starts to buck. Blood gets on everybody. Blood gets on everybody there. It was me, Nashar, Tazalium, Nakamaya, and it was my son Jojo. Everybody damn near at the same time said, "Damn, man, she got blood all over me, man." Damn near everybody at the same time, like, "Ah, shit." So I looked down, I'm like, "Man, you got me too." Damn, man. We didn't even think about it at first. But it was because everybody had vocalized it. Chief goes, "Wait, everybody got blood on them?" Oh, shit. Everybody got sprinkled by the blood, right? Immediately, I take my son, I grab him. I'm like, did you get any on you? I almost had to cut him off. I almost had to take him into the bed and say, give me the knife. I got to cut him off. The Lord ain't dealing with him. He ain't dealing with him. I check him. He had a speck on him, but it was distinct, though. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, that was dirt. No, distinct. And it still hadn't dawned on me what fully happened until I go back and I'm telling my brother Zion, shout out to Zion. I'm almost positive they're watching right now, right? Shout out to my brother Zion. I'm telling him what happened, and he says, did Esau get any? And I said, oh shit, Esau didn't get nothing. He took off. He was gone. And it's funny because I went back and watched the video. Esau was nowhere to be found. Come on, man. How does that work, dude? How does that happen, man? If that ain't through the spirit, right? But watch this, though. Hold on. Before you get that precept, I need you to go back to Ephesians, right? Because them who sometimes were afar off are now made nigh or brought near, right? Into the commonwealth of Israel, into the mercy and grace of the Most High, right? By the blood. Keep reading. Go back to the Ephesians. Keep reading.
It says, for he is our peace, who has both, who have made both one.
Who have did what? Who have made both one. So again, the point of us even going to Ephesians 2 is because, again, Chief mentioned at the top of the year, this Gregorian year, that what? We're going to be jumping over walls. And it was going to be through the blood of Yahushua that those who are far off are going to be made nigh and be brought near unto him and back near unto this nation. And he's going to make both one. Now, of course, according to those who's going to celebrate Ishtar Day, right, on Sunday will say, oh, that's Jew and Gentile, not having no understanding that it's actually northern and southern kingdom. You read about that in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, from about verse 20 to verse 23, right? Who have made both one. Go ahead.
It says, and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us.
And the Lord have broken down the middle wall of partition between us. And that's not only just northern and southern kingdom, it's also with believer, non-believer, right? Jew and Gentile in the sense of the Israelites who now know better versus the Israelites who don't know any better. But guess what? There was even a middle wall of partition between believers, between the Hebraic Jews and the Greek or the Grecian Jews, the Greek-speaking Jews, the Hellenistic Jews. You read about that in Acts, the 6th chapter. From the top, you can go and see, even amongst believers, there was a middle wall of partition. So this is where I go in and I utilize that concept to point out when Chief mentions this at the beginning of 2024, recognizing what the blood was going to do, and then also showcasing to say, I'm not tripping if somebody does this and celebrates Passover next week or next month, because we're jumping over those walls, those things that have been dividing us. This is the very thing. This is one of the first things that people, when they first learn about this stuff, they say, why is there still a division? Divisions is going to be there. We're not going to agree on everything. But to what degree are we allowing these divisions to affect the way in which we treat one another and the way in which we acknowledge one another? You see what I'm saying? How do I come off of such a powerful Passover to have an experience like that? My first time witnessing a slaughtering. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm one of the most queasy people you can ever meet. There's no way in hell I was able to sit up here and sit through that except through the Spirit of the Most High. And I'm going to tell you this, I watched it live. I did not bat an eye. I sat there in the most calm, comfortable spirit that you would ever even see. But guess what? It's very difficult for me to rewatch the video. Ain't that crazy? I have a harder time watching the video than I did being there live, and I have no problem with it at all. Through the Spirit. To then be anointed and sprinkled with that blood through the Spirit for my son to get some of that blood. through the Spirit. And he sat there, had no problem with it either. He watched it, everything was cool. Through the Spirit, man. Somebody on there said, "Oh, it gives me you just gave me goosebumps." I've been having goosebumps thinking about this ever since it happened. Why would I want to take a situation like that to turn around and put a dark cloud over it? Because now I've come to the knowledge that somebody is celebrating Passover next week. I don't care. Thank you. Just go and get in the Spirit. Simple. Go get in the Spirit. Like I was last week. Let me talk about a true Good Friday last week. On a false Good Friday that they call today. Right? Now bring your precept out. Priest, what you had. Hold yours.
This is Exodus 24, starting at 3, or starting at 1. It says, "And he said unto Moses, Come up unto Yahweh, thou and Aaron, and Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near Yahweh, but they shall not come nigh. Neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which Yahweh had said, we will do. And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh and rose up early in the morning, and building an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, All that Yahweh had said, we will do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh hath made with you concerning all these words.
It says the Most High commanded Moses to take the blood of the sacrifice of the lamb and sprinkle it on the people. How powerful could that be, that happened to us unsolicited? It would like when we say things like through the Spirit, that was through the Spirit, because we weren't even trying to do that. This is what we call divine intervention. This is the Lord intervening and doing it just because of the efforts, just because of the sincerity and the drive and desire to just serve and follow him. You understand what I mean? And in that moment, really with everything that was going on, I walk up to Chief and I said, man, how could anybody want to take us away from this? And when I say how could anybody, I'm not talking about our enemies. I could totally understand why our enemies want to take us away, because when we don't do this, they win. But I'm talking about our people. I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians that scoff, that mock, that naysay. Why would you guys ever want to take that from somebody? From me? Or the children, the kids, the hidden ones, the ones where that we're supposed to be protecting? Why would you want to take that away? That was it on that, priest?
Yeah.
Takes me to my next point. I want to give another shout out to my father and to my sister, my older sister. They made it to Passover. It was a beautiful experience. I thought that I was going to have a lot more time to speak, because I had some things lined up, right, that I wanted to showcase.
You got cut short.
I got cut short, and it was exactly, but it was okay though. It was okay though. I wasn't tripping, man. I think I got the point across, but it was still some details, right? But for those who weren't there, it's for you guys. I found a way to convince my father and my sister to make it to Passover. Okay. I've been in this truth 14 years. My father was around and was literally, I was I was living with my dad at the time. I had literally probably just moved in with my dad, back in with my dad. Anybody that know my story, you know, my dad, was an addict. He ran the streets for most of my teenage years. And then when I turned 18, he had recovered. He had got his own place. So me and my sister had moved in with him. Maybe like 8 months later, I came into the truth. So my father he's been around. He's seen this from day one, right? I remember when I first learned the truth, and I'm coming back to him after these little study sessions that I was having, and I'm like, "Hey, man, we ain't supposed to be eating pork, right?" And he like, "What, for real?" I mean, I always thought that if you prayed over it, you blessed it. The whole Christian explanation. And he sees me walking through the house with a big ass bag of pepperonis. That was our thing. We ate pepperonis, slices. And he's like, "I thought you wasn't eating pork." I'm like, "I ain't eating pork. I'm off that." He like, "Nigga, pepperoni is pork. You lying." That was like the day of, okay, label reading now. Now I really got to relabel because I don't know what pork is. I'm just thinking no pork chop, no ham, no pork roast, no carnitas, right? Things of that nature. So he's been there from the beginning. They have never not once attended a class. They have never not once attended a Passover, any high holy day, any gathering. They have never came to camp, nothing. And it's a difference between you already being out somewhere and you roll by and give a little, "Hey, son, cool," but never on a level of, "You know what? I'm going to come out and I'm going to listen to you." Never. So I figured out a way to get them to Passover. And again, I wanted to showcase to my father more so than anything or than anyone what exactly his son has been involved with these past almost 15 years, right? Why was that important for me to showcase that to my dad? Because growing up, we had a plan that we were going to be in some field of professional sports. That was what my life consisted of. That's what my life's been about. And there are a lot of parallels between that mission, because we used to always say like, "Hey, we on a mission to the league." What league? We don't know, right? NBA, NFL, MLB, one of them we was gonna go. And we on a mission. He would always ask me, "We still on a mission?" "Hey man, we still on a mission. I want to go," right? When he relapsed and he fell back into his addiction, of course that mission is now compromised. I tried to carry it on alone. One, it wasn't the same. Two, I did not have that guidance, right? He relapsed and fell into his addiction when I was 12, almost 13 years old. And you guys can only imagine a 12, almost 13-year-old, handsome, athletic, chiseled young man. I was super athletic. I was chiseled, right? The attention that I got and the access or the freedom that I now had. I don't have that male figure, that male disciplinarian in the home, and I have a bus pass that can take me anywhere within the San Diego County city limits. Okay, and I explored all of the nooks and crannies and crevices of San Diego at that point in time. There was no more practice. There was no more sports. He relapsed when I was in 7th grade. I probably didn't get serious about sports again until 10th grade. So 2 to 3 years of total freedom of fucking off. All right. Tried to get back on it. High school was pretty good. So from my 10th grade to my senior year, it was pretty good. Senior year, some wild, weird shit happened with my coaches. All of my offers and looks from colleges went out of the window. Didn't play baseball in high school. I tried. Like, I was on the team, but I didn't have grades, right? And then my football coach was just a real dickhead. So didn't even really explore that. My only option really was basketball, sincerely. And that fell apart. And then 9 months after me graduating high school, I found the truth, right? So even after high school, where I was still kind of, I went to junior college trying to do that, and it wasn't working. But with all that being said, my dad has always held that over his head. He always expresses shame. He's always expressing guilt. He's always expressing some sort of like, "Man, I'm sorry," right? "If I would have never done XYZ, man, things would be so different. If I would have never, that is always the song that he's singing. And I always tell him, I say, Dad, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good. Trust me. I'm glad things turned out this way, because had you not did what you did, I probably would have went, or I probably would have been pursuing it to the point where my mind wouldn't have been on no fuck this world. I'm trying to get out of America. America's going to be destroyed. We got to build up our nation and go and do the work of God. I would have never been thinking about anything like that. That's not where my mind was. It took for the Most High to abase me, right? For them to then form me from the dust of the ground, right? As I tell you, when I'm 12, 13 years old, handsome, chiseled, XYZ, and all of the attention, oh yeah, he took all of that away and then gave me the most powerful thing that, the most powerful gift that the Most High could ever give anyone. But again, I'm constantly telling my dad I'm good. So it was important for me to show him what I've been doing the last almost 15 years and what came from that time when I was living together, when I was living with him, and I used to just sit in the room all day. I was a heavy weed smoker, so I would hop up, roll my blunt. We had like a little side patio in the apartment. I would go to the side patio, hit my morning blunt, watch my videos, come in the house, maybe make something to eat, take my food into the room, close the door. I'll probably go in there, watch videos until that weed and that food kick in, and you know what happened? High, hungry, happy, sleepy. Take me a little nap, wake up, do it all over again. At nighttime, I was going to the gym. I'll play basketball, go out, work out, play basketball till about 2, 3 in the morning, come back home, and then we did it all over again. That was my life. But again, when I was at home, I was in the room. And if I wasn't at home, I was at the gym. I'm coming right back home. There was no nightlife, wasn't hanging out, wasn't doing no nothing. And one day my dad comes, he knocks on the door and he says, Jay, what's up? You all right, man? You cooped up in this room, man. You ain't doing nothing. Are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm straight. And even to this day, before Passover, he would always bring it up, right? Growing up playing sports, there was no weekends. I couldn't go spend a night at my friend's house, right, that I went to school with. I couldn't go to any amusement park, water parks. Couldn't go to my cousin's house and all that. You want to know why? Nope, can't go. We got a game. We got practice. We got a tournament. And it's not necessarily that it was like, oh, this sucks. It was messed up, because even on these teams I was playing on, I was able to go to places. But of course, my friends like, hey, can Jerron come by? People I play football with, people I play baseball with. Nope, I play basketball year round. And then whenever basketball season was, I did both. People would always say, I hope you ain't forcing this boy to do this, right? This is so wrong. He ain't got no life. He can't even enjoy a simple weekend. Don't that sound familiar? Don't that sound familiar? Damn, you don't ever go on vacation? You can't do nothing? You can't just miss one Saturday? Hell no. And guess what? It ain't nobody over me that's making me do it either. I'm a grown man making a cognitive, straightforward decision to sacrifice my weekends to doing the work of the Lord, because I'm on a mission to withdraw the kingdom from out of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, to establish the throne of who the world calls Christ. I'm doing this on my own. And nobody is forcing me. The same way nobody forced me to play basketball. I enjoy what I was doing. But it was understood that this is the work that is necessary, that you have to put in to get out the results that you're looking for. But guess what? It don't just stop there. How they ask us now, can't you just miss? Who's forcing you to do this? Is it that serious? You know what they turn around and start asking me? Well, what about your son? Do you force him to do it? How does he feel about not celebrating? See what I'm saying? But remember, I brought up this story. I segued into this story when it dawned on me, say, why would anybody want to take this lifestyle and this experience away from us? From me. And then when I look to my left and I see my son experiencing it, and then he gets sprinkled with the blood. Why would I ever want to take that away from him? Even if I had to force him to. Because first of all, I'm not forcing him. He loves it. He loves it. And guess what? Brothers in this truth, sisters in this truth, we still deal with carnal thoughts and carnal ways, man. We're ever shedding, right? We're ever renewing ourselves. I still wanted my son to be an athlete like I was. And he is just not. Like, he's athletic. He can run around. He can move naturally. But he looked at me one day and said, Dad, I hate basketball. I hate football. And I don't want to play baseball. And it just hurt my heart. It just hurt my heart. I was just like, oh, God. Nigga, no. You can't be that. Right? You're gonna do some sport. I don't care. You're gonna do something. Until one day, I say, matter of fact, it was this brother right here, brother Idar, and he goes, what's up, JoJo, man? You gonna get out there to camp with us one day? And he's like, yeah. And we get in the house, and I say, hey man, you know, people keep asking you whether or not you gonna get out the camp with us. You really want to get out the camp? He's like, he looked at me like, yeah. And I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know you were serious. He was like, nah, for real, like I do. He was like, I want to start a reading, and then I want to speak like you. I said, shit. It never dawned on me. It never made any sense that that's all he's ever seen me do. That's all he knows. My dad gets up and he goes to camp. So his mom signed him up for this boxing class. And I guess within the boxing class, you know, it's I think technically considered like a martial art. It's a discipline rather. And they're asking him, you know, are you comfortable with, you know, being in the spotlight? Are you comfortable with getting up and speaking in front of people? He's like, no, I'm not. But then one of the questions was, so when you get older, when you graduate from high school, what do you want to be? He says, I want to be like my dad. And his mom was like, well, what is that called? He's like, I want to go to camp. I said, shit. Right? I say all of that to say that, again, in this moment when it dawns on me, when I say, why the fuck would anybody want to take this experience and this life from us when it is so powerful and it's so vital to how the rest of the world is going to pan out? It takes for us and our children. It takes for us to learn it and for us to follow the law that the Most High gave us to teach our sons and our sons' sons this law, statutes, and commandments about the day when the Lord delivered us out of the land of Israel, right? And when our children ask us, we got to be prepared to answer that, but we especially got to remind them and teach them about the day when we stood before the Most High and he gave us these laws, statutes, and commandments, and he told us about the judgments he was going to bring upon us. How wild is that? For the Lord through the Spirit to then sprinkle us with the blood. And again, I literally almost damn near seen the drop fall on my pants, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Everybody knows how I feel about my garments, okay? And I'm just like, man, you done got this damn blood on me. And Chief goes, everybody got sprinkled? And I think that's what it was. He says everybody got sprinkled, and then I think it just dawned on everybody like, oh shit, it was a sprinkling. Right? It wasn't a mess that was made. It was a sprinkling. And then immediately I go, was my child sprinkled? Yeah, you want to take a little more hush. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have just, you know, kicked some onto him a little bit. But then my son gets sprinkled. I'm just saying, how could we have not? How could we have not? And what's funny is that Monday, me and my son didn't go to pick out the lamb because that pollen kicked our ass out there, and we got extremely sick for like 3 days. So we missed it just to try to get some rest on Monday. And I said, nah, for sure we're going on Thursday, and we did, man. And again, I just thank the Most High for that, man. Captain is on a serious high right now, and I don't think it'll ever come down. I'm on some Uncle Elroy shit. Okay. No, high never come down. Yeah, I'm talking about long you dig it down. How high you get my house, as long as you let me hit it, right? Bring your precept.
This Malachi 4, starting at See, it says, remember to obey the law of Moses, my servant, all the decrees and regulations that I gave him on Mount Sinai for all Israel. He says, look, I am sending you the prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day of Yahweh's arrives.
Right.
It says, his preaching will turn the hearts of fathers to their children and the hearts of children to their fathers. Otherwise, I will come and strike the land with a curse.
See it?
So that just goes right directly to Deuteronomy 4. Remembering
directly.
That, here comes Elijah,
who, yeah.
And then now we got JoJo.
And it's turning his heart. You see what I'm saying? And it's tripping me out because this is where you have to then check your carnal mind, because in my carnal self, right, in my fleshly self, I wanted him to be like me as an athlete, not even thinking like that's vanity, that's bullshit. And we always bring it out in Maccabee's house like that shit is crazy. But it's a subconscious thing. It's not even really something that you kind of like notice until the Lord intervenes and says, nah, my child, nah, my son. And then again, it's a humbling thing where you like, man, now I got to go back to the drawing board. Now it makes me want to, approach this, right, to every dot and every jot and every tittle. It makes me want to just get so detailed and so focused. It's so locked in, man. The Lord is out here moving. The Lord is out here moving, man, through the Spirit within the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. It's for us to recognizing to not stifle, to not quench that spirit, to take it and to utilize it in whatever capacity the Most High will allow. That's where we got to be at. And I always say this, but I'm going to say this again. If there's been a point in time where you've been unsure, you've been hesitant, you've been feeling like, man, I want to so bad, but 90% of the battle is getting your ass up and getting there. Get up tomorrow, man, and get to somebody's camp. Somebody's camp, okay? Get to somebody's camp. Even if you get to a camp that you really don't even agree with and understand, and you just still want to get down with Sakari, just get out there, get to camp, man, and watch it be done. Go see it be done. Get out there and get into the field. Get into the field and start your journey to bid to the marriage. So again, we can build this nation of men and get up out of here. Because ever since my son done told me that, man, it puts so many different things in perspective. My mindset is different, right? That's why I didn't try to figure out some way to bring him along, just simply for the Passover week. No, he was out there with me for damn near 2 weeks. We was there for 12 days, 13 days. Wouldn't have traded for anything, man. So I'll praise to the Most High for that. You got another precept? Anybody got any other precepts?
Go ahead.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 9 and verse 22. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission.
Without shedding of blood, there is no remission, right? And we're purged through that blood. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I always bring up this scenario with Saul and Samuel, right? Where the Lord had anointed Saul to be king, and Saul had to go to Samuel to get all of the stipulations. This is where the saying goes: is Saul? What is it? How's the saying go? Is Saul among the prophets, right? Or does Saul prophesy with the prophets? This is when Samuel was giving him that instruction as to that was going to happen. You was there?
It's 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 15.
Go ahead.
Now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, tomorrow by this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin.
So the Lord is telling Samuel that he's going to send him a man out of the land of Benjamin. That Saul, read.
And thou shalt anoint him to be a captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people.
And he made him a savior. So this is what's so crazy, how the Lord can just take anybody and turn them into that very thing that we need to get out of a certain, you know, detrimental predicament that we in. So this is why you can't stifle that spirit. Not only the spirit that the Most High puts on you, but even the spirits that's coming through the matrix, man, through that womb. We can't kill them off. That could be the next person that we need to get up out of here. Go ahead.
It says, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines, for I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come up unto me.
And the Most High is starting to see our cries, man.
Just like how we saw in Moses.
Right. During Egypt, right? Your cries have reached unto heaven. The Lord hears our cries, man, every single day. And that's why he sends men to go and bring the fullness of this truth out, so that we can align ourselves back with him, return unto him. This is why I almost abuse Deuteronomy 30. Be out there in the field. Why do I need to talk about anything else to somebody who don't know nothing about what we're doing other than Deuteronomy, the 28th and the 30th chapter? Why? It's important that when we return, the Lord is going to turn our captivity off. See what I'm saying? Do y'all have something for the women? We have the Bible for women. The same thing we have for men. All right. In terms of, I'm gonna tell you this, in terms of, you know, something like camp, not necessarily. I think the brother Nakamaya got a sisterhood class. I you know, write me on Instagram. That's my name on Instagram. Write me on Instagram and I'll link you with the brother Nakamaya. I believe he has a sisterhood class, right? But with that, the Lord is constantly sending us people so that we can get up out of here, and we can never stifle and impede on what that spirit could do for us, right? It takes this work, man. It takes putting that one foot forward, right, and following with the other foot, and to then keep going after that. Never quit. You're hilarious, right? And you just cannot quit. Take this spirit and run with it. You got precept? You got something, Malachi?
Book of John, chapter 15, verse 16.
You
have not chosen me, but I have chosen you.
Listen, don't think that you're doing it. It's the Most High's doing, right? Man's goings are the Most High, right? Man's going are the Most High. How can a man then understand his own way? And having that in perspective, having that in mind, you no longer sit here and try to have some mindset of, no, I'm gonna do it this way. No, listen, man. Go after it and watch how the Most High takes over and starts to guide you. Okay? And those are the things that's most important. You got something? Y'all keep looking in y'all Bibles like y'all got something, trying to be considerate. So not only do we see, like I said, the parallels of you know, the dedication that me and my pops had growing up, that I now put forth with this truth, and now I'm also instilling into my son. We see other brothers doing the same thing, and when we see the turnout of our Passover, I can only imagine what IUIC's Passover be looking like. Jesus Christ. You can only imagine, right? And how powerful it is in there.
Do they even have it as one?
I think they be having theirs at like the Georgia Dome or something like that. Yeah, they packing out stadiums, tight shit, right? But when you start to see the turnout, I'm always humbled, and I always thank the Most High for allowing me to see this grow from the seed. From the seed being planted, I have watched it grow into a green bay tree. You see what I'm saying? I've watched it. And I would say that it is an experience that is second to none in anyone's lifetime. And I was able to showcase that to my father this past weekend, and the release, right? Off of his shoulders, off of his heart, was tremendous. And I would say that it even contributed, and Lord willing, it continues to, his full conversion. You see what I'm saying? Him and my sister, I'm talking about, ran back to whoever knew us or knows me, and they're just like, oh my God, you guys missed it. You guys missed it. You guys missed it. You said, what did grandma say? I'll tell you that off camera. And and it's not even anything bad that I can't say on camera. I just want to leave the room. I want to leave room for the Most High to work. I'll say that. For those for y'all that are listening, I want to leave room for the Most High to work. But grandma definitely had some words. And funny thing, I had to apologize to my dad. I had to apologize to my uncle, right? My mom's brother, her youngest brother, and my first cousin, right? Because them two, my uncle and my cousin, they actually learn and practice this. And I didn't even invite them. And I had to apologize because this whole thing started from trying to show my grandma something. I had camp one day, and my mom and my grandma was, or rather my son was with my mom and my grandma. So when I go to pick them up after camp, they're all in my grandmother's bed, and Passover from last year is playing. Was it last year? No, it was the one where we was in like that gym. Remember we was in like that little rec center? That's the one that was playing. And I'm trying to tell my grandma, I'm like, Grandma, like, you know what you watching? You know what you watching right now? She was like, no, it's just really on the TV. I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. I'm like, yo, this is our Passover. You see how many people was here? You see how much it done grown? Remember when it was just 4 of us? Really 3, because your dad wasn't really around a lot for personal time. He was always there at camp. And she goes, oh, I mean, okay, I see it. And I'm like, yeah, she ain't gonna understand this until she sees it in person. So that turned into, Grandma, will you come to our Passover? She's like, yeah, I mean, I'll go. I'm like, but it's in Atlanta though. She's like, I mean, I don't know. We'll figure it out. And for those of you who don't know, my grandmother is 98 years old. So she's looking at me, and she's functional though. It's not like she's like bedridden or fragile, right? But she can move. Grandma, you gonna come? Yeah, I'll come. But now if my grandma come, somebody gotta watch my grandma, because I'm not chaperoning this old lady while you know what I'm saying? We out here for the work, but we enjoy ourselves as well. So I'm not going to be responsible for that. So if my grandma's going to come, then that means my mom's got to come too. So Mom, now you got to come to Passover. And this is a formal invite. I don't want y'all to make it seem like, hey, I ain't invited y'all or you weren't sure. No, I am inviting you guys to Passover. You're more than welcome. Please come. She's like, okay, cool. We'll figure it out. But this is like last year. This is like right after last year's Passover. That turned into me saying something to my sister and my dad about it. And I'm just like, you know what? Y'all should come too. And they're like, okay, cool. And my dad tells me last night, he says, because I kept thinking about, hey man, I appreciate y'all for coming, man. Out of everybody that I invited, y'all the only 2 that made it. I thank you. And y'all was probably the most important ones anyway. He says, I thank you for inviting me, and trust and believe, I'm so glad that I made it, because you don't think me and your sister been sitting there talking behind your back trying to figure out a way to get up out of this after we done already agreed to it? Oh yeah. And what's so funny is I'm belligerently reminding them too. I'm like Stewie, like mommy. Like that's how much I'm asking them. Almost like for a week straight, 2 weeks straight, I'm asking them over. So y'all really gonna come? Like I would really want you guys to come. Guys, I'm gonna be really, really sad if you don't come to Passover. Like if you don't make it, like you're really gonna hurt my feelings. No, it's not even that. It's just like I want you to understand how serious I am, that this is not like a loose invite. I am serious. I really want you guys to go to Passover. Are you guys gonna come? Yeah, we'll come. Thank you for inviting. Okay, cool. 2 hours later, like, for real, you got, like, I'm really, it's gonna mean so much to me, and I'm gonna be crushed, and I'm gonna be floored. This is how belligerent. So my dad's like, you don't think me and your sister sitting there talking about, like, how we gonna get out of this? We done already told your brother we was gonna go. I really don't want to spend the money to go. What we gonna do? And I'm like, y'all still coming, right? He's like, yeah, we're still coming. You still go? Got on to get their ticket. They pulled up, and again, it's like, hey, I could have. There was no words that I could have explained or I could have expressed to them to get them to understand what this is like in person. They made it. They ran back, told my grandma about it, and she had some words. She had some words. So I'll say all praise to the Most High for that, you know. But I'm glad I was able to show them that. One, like I said, it contributes to their conversion. Hopefully, it puts the spirit on other brothers to put that type of pressure, because sometimes it might take that, right? The same type of pressure I put on them as my family, just being on the phone or on FaceTime, is the same type of pressure we put on people when they walking by us at camp. See what I'm saying? And sometimes you got to trick a nigga into the truth. Shouts out to the sister Deborah, right? We call her mommy. She's the mother of Sakari, the mother of our brother Matazalab out in Miami, Florida. Shouts out to her. She is one of the most profound and the most spiritual people I've met being in this truth. And she was one of the main people that I wanted my dad and my sister to meet. And when I introduced them to her, she immediately tore off, okay, spiritually, into their ass. Oh my God. But not in like a condemning way, not in a disrespectful way. You know, she's a Benjamite to the core, and she just has a way. Broke my dad down, broke my sister down, had my sister in tears, had my dad over there in tears, just breaking it down to, like, first thing she asked him, she said, what did it take for you to get here? Ooh, such a cold question. What did it take for you to get here? She says, how old are you? My dad was 67. She goes, okay, I'm still older than you, but she said, do you know how hard it is for what we've went through and what we've gathered in our 67 years of living to then even simply acknowledge something like this? Everything she was saying was just hitting like, oh. They left different people. Somebody just said it earlier. They said, partaking in Passover for the first time refreshed my spirit so much, man. I really wish I could have participated with y'all in Atlanta. Lord willing, you know, if we're even here next year, start preparing now to get your behind. Nicholas, start preparing now to get yourself to Atlanta next year, all right? Hey, listen, I'm gonna do the same way I did my family. You ain't got no excuse. It would really, really mean something to me, Ak. And I want you to come up to me, and I want you to remember. I mean, and remind me and say, "Hey, I remember you said when you was going over, you know, Passover recap. You told me to make my, you know, set everything up, and hey, I made it, and that's gonna be a good day. It would really mean something to me, Ak, if you made it to Atlanta with us next year, Lord willing. Okay, most certainly, Ak. All right, I'm gonna hold you to it. All right, and unless you got a good reason, you're gonna be a piece of shit to me if you don't make it. All right. So I say that with love. Remember how Michael was correcting people in this city. So I say it with love. I said it with love to say that, to put that fire, you know, behind you, man. Let's make this happen. And anybody else who wasn't there, start preparing yourself now. Get to Passover next year. All right. Like I said, I felt like it was a good release. I felt like even with Chief was around. Chief's been around through all of this, a lot of the issues that I had, and seeing my dad go through his ups and downs. So even Chief seeing my dad there was a serious thing. And again, put that same type of pressure on your family, and see which ones come through for you. See which ones you ain't gonna have to forsake in that day. All right. Powerful lessons that came out the day following Passover. Do you have to be a member? You do not have to be a member. Just stay tuned to the channels, and around the time Passover is coming up, Chief will notify you and let you know how you will be able to purchase your Passover tickets. And from there, that's how you make that happen. But powerful lessons, powerful edification came out. Brotherhood. A lot of people want their pictures from Passover, man. There's very few people that's gonna get these pictures from me. All right, for brothers and sisters that I took pictures with, very, very few people are gonna get these pictures from me. So you guys can stop asking. I'm not giving those out. I'm holding on to those. If you in this truth, if we still here 20 years from now and you still in this truth, then I'll be willing to give you those pictures. Other than that, don't even think about it. Passover was awesome this year. Straight fire, a true blessing. Love every minute of it. Absolutely, man. It was, like I said, nothing short of special, nothing short of amazing. And I hope everybody was able to at least, celebrate their Passover. If not, we have the makeup Passover, next month, as we see it happening in the scriptures. That makeup, that follow-up Passover. Get in the spirit, man. Stay in the spirit. And when you find that spirit, don't let anybody and anything separate you from the Most High, separate you from who the world calls Christ, or to separate you off of that high you have when you learn and you figure out who you are in this truth. Because everybody knows how I felt when you first started learning. Oh my God. Some of the sweetest, most potentest dope you've ever been on in your life. All right. The dope of hope. Okay. The dope of hope, and the dope that we're saved by, right? We're saved by that hope. Bring it out.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 22. Accept no person against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall.
Let not the reverence of any man cause you to fall. Don't let anybody separate you from that. This past weekend, man, took me back 14 years. It was great. Anybody that was there that tried to say that it was not great, hey, it just speaks to the spirit that you was in. You were not in the spirit of the Most High if you had a problem with this past weekend. Okay?
You were in that murmuring spirit.
You were in that murmuring spirit. I'm talking about brothers was getting cursed out. Brothers was getting cursed out. Brothers was getting being embraced. Brothers was being corrected. Brothers was growing. Brothers was ranking up. Brothers was just in the spirit, man. It was great. It was a balance of everything. Brothers was being confronted with their own demons, their own issues, man. Brothers was also being extorted. I mean, exhorted as well, not extorted. Exhorted. Excuse me. Brothers was being exhorted, right? They were being encouraged. They was being edified. And guess what? You guys want to know something funny? You guys see how great and how much glee I'm speaking about, how last week it was? We got all of that done in the midst of pure hell. There was pure hell going on in the midst of all of it, guys. And I made sure to save that for the end. Everything that I'm telling you about of something good that happened, something evil happened as well. But that darkness just did not overshadow that light. It did not outshine it. It will never outshine it. All right. And we will never put darkness for light. All right. Or light for darkness. Do you still have some of those Zeets you were selling? They were hard, but I didn't have enough to buy any at the time. Issachar, hit me on Instagram. Again, that's the name on Instagram. Hit me on Instagram. I have a few more that was there. I think I have those pink and black ones left. I have some royal blue and orange ones left, but I also have some more that I didn't even bring with me. So if anybody is interested in some of the Zeets that you guys might see me wearing, I have just a lot of them. Sometimes I just sit at home bored, You know, I'm watching something and I'll just look at some shoes that I got and find a color strand or color string, and I'll just tie up my own ZZs and they'll just kind of sit there. So if y'all want some, I might just sit up here and post all of the ones that I have. And if anybody want them, y'all let me know and we can go from there. So all praise to the Most High for that. Anybody got anything else that they wanted to add? Maybe they experienced or something that they seen, noticed, felt, remember, highlights. Like I said, it was a good time. I appreciated everybody. I love being around my brothers. Shouts out to my brother Tazarium. All right, Lil Taz is what I call him. Okay. Shouts out to my brother Nakamaya, my brother Nashar, my brother Quadash, my brother Dabak. I'll be forgetting people's name too. What's the cameraman name that be in Atlanta? Start with a Y.
Isn't it Yashar?
No, it ain't Yashar. Yathar. Shouts out to the brother Yathar. All right, great camera work. Tazarium is doing great camera work too. All right, but Yathar caught my camp session. So y'all be looking out for, you know, camp videos dropping maybe on like Sunday or Monday. I probably won't drop any into the first. What's the first? Monday?
Yeah.
Monday. Yeah, I'm gonna drop something on the first. All right. And I won't fool you guys either. All right. So y'all can be rest assured with that. Yeah, man. If anybody want to support, you know what I mean, if you guys want to help out, the Cash App is posted here, sicariisd, Cash App and PayPal, all the same. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Sicari San Diego. Share the information, share the videos, like the videos, comment as well. You know, if you guys don't like it, let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think. I'll try to do my best to respond as fast as I can, and consistently as well, because sometimes the conversation will spark up. But saying all of that to say, man, we give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High God. Abanawa Yahweh, we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Mashak Yahushai. Until next time, it says, I had a blessed Passover in week 2, and I learned more and more. My lamb for Passover was amazing. My brother burned the rest of it in his grill. It was my first Passover. Praise to the Most High. Hey, don't let it be your last. Stay in the faith. Keep going. Keep pushing. All right. And keep God in your life. All right. Shalom.